Welcome to the Crimson Circle Connection Center here in wonderful Louisville, Colorado, and we're freezing our butts off.
And you almost forgot where we were for a moment. I could tell you're like, I'm not really sure where I am. I know
It's
that
been
I
a
am,
long
but
time.
I don't know where I am. Yes, it has been a long time since we've been here. I think the last in-person shout was back in
October.
August.
August, wow.
August, yeah. We've been doing them from Hawaii, but it is so good to be back with everybody in person. Could we get an audience shot?
Yes, it's such a great group.
Yes, everybody's kind of
They're all
ready for
sparkling with their holiday wear and glitter.
How about a big shout out to all the Shamba around the world tuning in right now?
Go on.
That wasn't much of a shout. Anyway,
you.
good to be back, and we'd like to welcome each and every one of you that's
Truly.
tuning in from all around the world, watching and listening and adding your energy. We've got a big day today. I know Adamus, he is so ready to go. I mean, he doesn't get a live audience that much more anymore. He only picks on you, and after a while, no, he feels bad about it. So, he lightens up. But today, he is Professor
Honored.
Adamus,
Honored.
ready to go.
So
I almost think we
beware.
should start the shout right now, but
Oh.
no, we have important slides to get through. Shut up.
You were saying shut up to Adamus, right?
No, there's some guys back there,
Oh,
sitting in that chair, and nice fire in the fireplace here. It's so nice and toasty and warm and feels so good. Anyway, we do have a lot to cover today,
We do.
but we want to extend a very special welcome to each and every one of you watching in online. It means so much to us, your support, your love, your affection, your issues. No, because we all talk about the issues.
Well, there's a real beauty to this, too, because we know from tracking on live events that we do online that it's nothing for there to be people from every continent, nearly 60 different countries.
Yeah.
So we can just think about that. Imagine how many little dots there are all over the globe of people listening to this right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we feel you. We love you. Thank you for being with us.
And if you have the feeling
they're gonna
that
wait for the shower.
something is really happening right now, it is.
Holy
Oh,
smoke.
my gosh. We'll talk about that later. But right now, we're going to take a look at what we did last month. We were back in Kona, of course, actually, when we were doing the rehearsals, making sure all the media works. They put this on. I'm like, oh, geez, well, it was a whole different setting than here.
Yes, it was.
So let's do.
Don't make fun of
Let's
us.
do Shout 2 of the Alt series a month ago, because I never remember. Let's see what we said. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the Shambra who've been crossing over to our side, back to their natural state. There's been quite a few of them lately, and I know some of you have asked about it. Why are they leaving? Well, right now, especially. Well, they're leaving for a lot of reasons. They just get to the point where they say, no more. They're done fighting the battle with a physical body, or they're just done. The point is, right now, with the coming of Heaven's Cross, there's a lot of intensity. It's all contingent on the level of consciousness on the planet, because the level of consciousness determines then the flows of energy that are coming in to the individual, but ultimately to the planet. The level of consciousness has to do with Gaia's departure. The more consciousness there is, the easier it is for her to clear out, for her to ascend, which she literally will do. So that has an effect, and therefore you can almost imagine the energy, kind of a vortex, the suction that takes place. Gaia is leaving as consciousness increases. You got that kind of that jet stream, that suction behind with her leaving. That creates a void to be filled with consciousness, but also there's a lot of conflict in it. Humans are conflicted and are pointing the finger at whose fault the environment is. You've got the power vortex in Eastern Europe. You've got energy situations that we've talked about this ad nauseum. But my point is that now what happens is these all work together right now. They converge to bring this thing called Heaven's Cross. Now, Heaven's Cross, what is that? Up until now, there's been this, you call it the veil oftentimes, a veil separating the heavens. Earth is a heaven. It's a dimension. And that's my definition of heaven. It's a dimension. If it's a state of being, it's a state of grace, which is sometimes not so graceful. So you've got this situation now with that veil is starting to open. The cracks in it, so to speak, but not bad cracks, good cracks, openings in this veil that separated human from divine for so very long. As Heaven's Cross opens, it's a planetary event, but you're also opening that line of separation between you and your own divine. Because you're no longer looking out there and going within, it creates that opening for more ease of the divine coming in, more consciousness, more ease and grace with your own divinity existing together. It's a real game changer on the planet. It's occurring March 22nd. We're going to be here with Caldra, Linda, and the crew here in Kona doing a webcast for free, of course, and celebrating, honoring this beginning of the opening of Heaven's Cross. I want to talk for a moment here a little bit more about what's actually going on within you. I want to address the brain because it ties in more to the alt that we've been talking about. But you've got some terms that are used in society, and then I have my own version of them. There's a term, if you want to write it on the board.
Okay.
Neurotypical. What is that? Well, it's a label used to identify most people. Say most people are neurotypical, but they're not typical at all. There's nothing typical about somebody who's locked into a body and a brain. Now, you've got another label here that's recently been brought up, I believe, in the Shambra magazine. Neurodivergent. I don't really like that label because it's kind of saying you're special in a weird way. Well, what's happening in your divergency is there's something calling out from within you, your human/divine self calling out and saying, there's something wrong with neurotypical. I got to get out of this. I am not typical as in accepting being locked in the box. I am not going to accept that this human persona is typical. I'm gonna do something neurally different, and it's going to ultimately help me get out of the box faster. I give a new definition that has to do with what you're going through in your neurology right now, which is basically the communications in your body. Neural tinnitus. You are retuning right now, and it's intensifying, particularly with Heaven's Gate. You're retuning your mind in particular. And I give it another name if you forget this word, neural tinnitus. It's a name I made up. If you forget that, alt brain. 2 words, alt brain. The biggest thing you do is understand what's happening, that all the communications to all those nerves in your brain and your body are being redone, remodeled. You're doing it while you're staying in the physical body. Some of the ones who have crossed over recently simply just couldn't handle it anymore. It was too much for them to handle. And that's why so many have crossed over lately. There's a couple of things that you can do that actually make it a little easier. I'll give you the typical things, breathing and light exercise and that. Eating the foods that your body is asking for, not that the brain is telling you should eat. That's very important right now. The foods that your body is asking to eat. In other words, the diets and everything else, forget about. But there's another one too. That's a reason why some of you might be experiencing more intense emotions and intense pain in your body. If you're doing something in your life right now that's not really your passion, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, no matter what it is, if you're doing something that's not your passion, in other words, you really don't want to be doing it, but you feel trapped that you need to continue doing it, that's going to cause a lot of extra stress. It's best right now, if you're not happy with these situations, make a change. It's so important because it's all intensifying right now, coming up to Heaven's Cross. Once that opening occurs, there will be, for so many Shaumbra, there'll be almost like a flood of energies, divinity coming in. And while you jump up and down and say, well, that's great. But if you're kind of in that out of balance place and you're doing things that you know just aren't right for you, it'll really hit you. It eventually served you very well, but it could hit you hard at first. It's actually an amazing time to be here. Amazing time if you can deal with it, with all the weird things going on the earth, but also within yourself. It's truly an amazing time to be on this planet and to be right in the midst of all this happening right now.
You know, Dr. Davies is a neurologist, and trust me, we have some interesting conversations after Adamus redefines basically the brain, the neurology, you know.
Yeah. So has he used the term neuro-weird in his profession?
I've been told not.
Not. Or neurotunitis, as in retuning ourselves?
I've heard he thinks about it, but he does not.
Yeah. And Adamus, sometimes what he does with the English language, I mean, it's just that, and poor translators out there, you know, we translate into, 20 different languages, and how do they cope with that? Neural tunitis? They're looking it up. I don't see it anywhere. And it's like, no. And then they call Gene, and Gene's like, no, just write it the way it was. Forget about it. But
it's a new word.
Yeah, it's a new word. But, I think one of the big takeaways from that is if you're doing something that is not your passion, that you don't like, right now, particularly with Heaven's Cross, let it go. I mean, let it go, because it's going to be too rough otherwise. So, yeah. Okay, we're going to jump in and talk about recent events. We've had a number of them in Kona recently, and it was just divine there. I mean, it was. And what's interesting, he was talking about Gaia in this, and then we had that big earthquake. Not the earthquake, the volcano.
Yeah.
Shortly
they're tied
after
together.
That. Yeah, they are. Actually, we had a bunch of earthquakes and then the volcano. And it was so beautiful. The night we were leaving, we took off at like 8:30 at night, and we exited north and flying over, and we were on the right-hand side of the aircraft, so we could see the volcano, and you could see it spitting up the lava or whatever it's called and running down the sides of the hill, and good, we're escaping from the island.
Well, and it's in an area where nobody lives because they know better, unless they're nuts. But it was interesting also because the very first night that it started to go off, we had dinner down near the ocean, and when we went to drive up, you looked up in the sky, and it was red, like Christmas light red, and it was, 50 miles away from the coast?
Yeah, about 50, 60 miles away. But
and it just lit up the whole sky, bright red, not orange, red. It was just stunning.
Fortunately, now it's stopped erupting, it's settled down. I hear it's going to start up again March. Anyway, we did a couple of great workshops, Staying in Grace back in November, and Masters in Communication, and just a few shots. Of course, we always have to get Belle in the shots.
The dear Belle.
I have to say, we miss her so much. We've been back 2 weeks, and all day long, we miss Belle, and you still feel her presence around, but really, really miss Belle.
She's such a sweet treat. You can be working hard, and then all of a sudden she'll just come and sit there like, hi, don't work too hard. And then, then she'll just sit there. She's so sweet.
A lot of fun.
Yes.
There's several evenings we get together at the villa, and, music, dancing, food, drink, all the good
By the way,
stuff.
that was Marco and Kim, and he
Yeah.
had her flying in the air
I
eventually
know.
as they were dancing that night.
One of the attendees was dialoguing with Adamus during the workshop, and he was something like, you got to get rid of this. You got to just let go of it. And so he said, just do a burning ceremony. So we created a little cross that says,
Yeah, it's a cross.
Gene's
cross.
issues, and it looks kind of Christian now that I look at it. But and then this is Gene. It really looks Christian. Dear Jesus.
No, wait.
Jesus.
No, wait. There's no Jesus on it, so it doesn't matter.
No, I know, but we did, and we had fun with it, and everybody had little things of wood that they would write their issues on and throw them into the big cauldron, and it was great.
Nice. It was representative of the objective.
Yeah, always great food. And one day, I'll never forget this night. We were inside because it was raining. It was Thanksgiving dinner, as a matter of fact. And Vanessa and the crew put together an amazing
They
Thanksgiving dinner.
Amazing.
And then afterwards, we had her husband, Edward, play his banjola, which he invented. And it was like live music, and then we had literally a concert.
He's in the audience.
We had a concert pianist from Spain there. He
Yeah.
was playing, and then another wonderful attendee, Anastasia, was a beautiful singer. We had, in our little living room, and we're all gathered around. It was like
so sweet.
world class. Anyway, we always have a lot of fun, music, laughter.
Another guitar player.
I thought this was a phenomenal shot. Whoa, a little foretelling, I guess. Yeah. And there's Edward playing in the living room, just sitting around that
Vanessa's
night.
husband, he's here
Yes,
today.
he is. Yeah, he's going to get the microphone.
No, he's already paid me not to.
This is dear Natalie. She was. We were handing out the leis at the opening ceremony. Of course, she's just had her arms spread out, holding the leis. But at the end of about 15 minutes, I think she was ready to collapse. Her arms were a little bit tired from the whole thing. But they're always great fun. I really like it because of the intense interactions with everybody in a beautiful space. I knew that was going to be the shot. And so we got done handing out the leis, and Belle's like looking up like, what about me? And so she got one. Anyway, the two different groups, I think that's the Staying in Grace group, and this is the Masters in Communication. So always an amazing time, beautiful time at Villa Amio. Love being there. Okay, let's take a look at some of the upcoming events. We've got a number of things. Tuesday is the semi-annual Angels webcast. It is for CC Angels, and it's one of the few times Adamus really takes questions. We get through a bunch of them, but that's if you're an angel, it's December 20th, right here from the studio.
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah, I'm getting ready for that. Following that is this thing we all look forward to all the time, Pronos 2023. Funny thing is, Adamus hasn't been chatting it up with me about that whatsoever. He hasn't said a word.
Why?
So I've been too busy with other things, just I got to get from one event to the next. But as you know, Pronost is the kind of the annual global forecast, and it's gotten to be such a big thing. And if you look back on to about 2015 when it was just Adamus, and you look at what he talked about then and what's happening in the world right now, it's so incredible and frightening at times too. The thing about Pronost is that it's one of those crap things, but then it starts happening and you read about it in the news. It's like, okay, it's not. What is a big deal? But you just get adjusted to it. So that is live online Saturday, January 14th, right here from the studio. And we'll find out what he has to say. What do you think he's going to talk about?
Everything.
that was a good answer.
Oh, no, everything's so insane.
Yeah,
you can talk about anything right now.
I have no idea. We'll find out. On January 27th through the 29th, it's Aspectology. Aspectology is one of the core Crimson Circle classes, of course, and it talks about how we as creators create aspects to serve us, but also sometimes those aspects are aspects. They don't like us so much. And so often we find ourselves fragmented and these dark and gray aspects. So aspectology is really, really good for understanding how we do that, but ultimately how to bring all those aspects back home.
You know, we all have that and sometimes it can be very positive. I have aspect of me that's a junior high boy. I mean, and
really,
and I have an aspect that was a school teacher. Trust me, two very different aspects. And one of the most important things is becoming aware of your aspects so that you can appropriately live with your aspects.
So, new slogan for aspectology: if you are neural weird, aspectology is for you. Aspectology features some of the original sessions from Tobias and updates from Adamus, which
they're very good.
Quite good, yeah. Anyway, it's really the new energy psychology. You have 90 days to stream it afterwards. It's translated into 17 languages, and we only do it once a year. So if you're interested, this is a great time. Let's take a real quick look at aspectology.
How is Adamus related to an aspect?
Let's watch the video.
Each of us at times find ourselves in difficult or challenging circumstances. Whether these situations are clearly self-created or appear to be the product of chance, it's frustrating when life goes into disarray. From things like self-sabotage, bad luck, and debilitating fear, to harassment from other people and repeating patterns of failure, it can seem that the odds are always stacked against you. But there's actually nothing wrong. You're simply playing out old unconscious patterns. All too often, these episodes are caused by unintegrated aspects, parts of our personality operating unconsciously and triggering difficulties of all kinds. Once you understand what's really happening, you can get back in the driver's seat of your life. The new energy psychology called aspectology is based on the understanding that you are whole and complete at the core. This new and very effective path to genuine healing requires a deep commitment to self. Those who have made this ongoing choice have reported remarkable inner renewal, the end of destructive patterns, and profound life changes. This new energy psychology will provide you a new understanding for true restoration. Aspectology, for giving you back to yourself.
Yeah, neural weird. So, in answer to your question, how is Adamus an aspect of us? It's really we're all facets. You know, we're all working together. So, I just didn't want to jump into that whole thing before we played the video. Okay, moving on somewhere. Okay, back to our schedule in Kona coming up. Not too long from now.
And we're fairly excited because one of the biggest. We've had beautiful events, and we're excited because the traveling restrictions have way lightened up. So it's much less difficult to actually get to the island if you can find a good airline to work with you.
Yeah.
But it's much, much better than it was over the last couple of years. Just this past year, it's really improved.
Yeah, a lot more Europeans, people from like Australia, New Zealand coming in. And the beauty of the live workshops is that they're very intimate and personal.
Asia and Korea, too.
And yes, and South America.
And Australia.
Yes, and Africa. All over. Neural weird.
I don't want to leave anybody out.
I understand. Anyway, the beauty of it is that they're very intimate and personal. A lot of good friendships and deep friendships are developed there, and people that keep in touch over the years and years.
A few Shambra moving there, hosting other Shambra.
A lot of Shambra moving there, yeah. And the other thing for this spring in particular, if you decide to come to a workshop, is that it's right before, during, or right after Heaven's Cross. So I have a feeling it's going to be extra special. So we're doing time traveling with Adamus, which I love. That is February 19th through the 23rd. And then
Mary Sue Dickerson was that.
Yes.
That?
And then Masters in Communications on March 17th through the 21st. Followed by, on March 22nd, it's going to be Heaven's Cross We're going to be doing a live message with Adamus, broadcast worldwide, free of charge, of course, from Kona, Hawaii. We're going to do it at 9 o'clock in the morning, our time, start early, so particularly people on the other side of the world, it's not going to be too late their time. And what a great time to join Shaumbra from all around the world for this pretty unique event.
That's an understatement.
Understatement. So really, Heaven's Cross, I know we're going to be talking a lot more about it, but according to Adamus, it changes the potential of everything. It's not a small statement there. Following that, right after that is the first time it's called Master Circle. It's just going to be an open format, open dialoguing with Adamus, no set particular topics, and it'll depend on the people who are there what we're going to talk about. Only 2 spaces left.
Yeah, your energy will dictate what Adamus talks about.
And then after that is Staying in Grace, April 23rd through the 27th. We did our first one back in the autumn, and I loved it. It was
very nice.
Really good, very, very strong. And then finally, the second Master Circle, May 14th through the 18th, and plenty of spaces available on that. So kind of a quick look at that schedule.
Yeah.
And I think now it's probably time for Shaumbra News. You ready for it?
Sure.
Okay. Just as a quick reminder, as always, make sure to check out the Shaumbra magazine. Great articles, schedule of everything that's happening. We don't like sending out a lot of emails all the time, so you get it once a month in a beautiful magazine. I think we're up to like 60 pages now. I mean, in the magazine, is that right, Gene? Mark, about 60 pages? Yeah. And I never would have imagined. It started out as a little 4-page newsletter, and now it's, I think it's a piece of art.
I have to go there. Sometimes when I'm trying to figure out our schedule, it's easier to go to the magazine to look at what we're doing.
No, I literally keep a printed out copy next to my desk just so I know what's happening and what we're doing, what month it is, who I am, all those things. It really helps with that. So anyway, do check it out. If you're not on the mail list, you can subscribe and you get it sent direct to your desktop. Well, right after that, of course,
boy.
Heaven's Cross, March 22nd. And we're going to talk about a number of different things that kind of fall under this whole category right now. The first is that Saint Germain first talked about this during the Dream of the Merlin, and we've isolated that excerpt, so it kind of focuses on that. We're going to play it now, I think. Yeah. The Crimson Council had a special project. You could say started about 22 years ago, 23 years ago, had a very special project. But in reality, it started a long time before then. Heaven's Cross is the name of this project, and the whole purpose was to open up the gateways between the realms. You see, Earth is a heavenly realm on its own. It's, you could say, the horizontal line going across. It is a heaven on its own. But for so very long, there was no access to the other realms, even sometimes, actually most of the time, even after death, when many people simply go to the near-earth realms. The purpose of this project was now to open the doorways, the gateways, into the other realms on the planet, represented by the vertical line. Now comes the time of Heaven's Cross, the work you've done, what you've heard the last few days in the discussions about the other realms. You're the first to begin opening these realms. And then it will come to other humans who are ready, who say the very thing that you said in the past, no more, I'm ready, whatever it is. Heaven's Cross will make the other realms more accessible to the humans who are ready, and to those who aren't, they simply won't notice it, or they'll simply laugh about it. It will make this next wave that's coming in, that we've talked about for a long time, it will make the journey for them so much easier, the access into their own soul, the access into the non-mental, going beyond the planet, bridging them together. So that's the Heaven's Cross Project. That's what we've been doing. And that's why over the next 3 years, we'll be working with each and every one of you for you to experience in your life what that's like to be able to traverse back and forth. So now we come to the time of Heaven's Cross, the real work, what you're doing here on the planet. There's a lot to do in these next few years. You'll see some twists and turns and changes within the Crimson Circle and within the Crimson Council. I'll be reporting to you fairly frequently about what's going on, about how the Crimson Council is going to be turning this over to you. But in the meantime, in these next 3 years, it'll be about working closely with you as we open Heaven's Cross on Earth. Wow. So I remember that was at the Dream of the Merlin event back in September.
It was Saint Germain.
It was Saint Germain, but I had no clue about this in advance, other than a little bit when I was asked by Adamus to get a certain graphic ready. But I remember as I was channeling it, it was like, oh, geez. I mean, and it kind of overwhelmed. And then afterwards, like the next day, I'm like, okay, is this just one more thing, in a long list of things? Is this another harmonic convergence and concordance and Y2K and everything else? And we had some good discussions in the Facebook group about it, because some people really felt into it. Others were like, I don't want anything else right now. But we've had some good talks with Adamus ever since. And he's like, no, this is it. This is what you came here to do. And I think everybody can kind of feel that there's really something happening right now. He's going to be talking more about it. We're going to be doing another update pretty soon. I know he's going to talk about it today, but it is phenomenal.
This is that continuing, there's no normal.
Yeah. There's no normal. And if you're trying to get back to normal, forget it. It's not going to work. But it's breathtaking. I've had a lot of conversations with Adamus, as you know.
You've been interesting.
Yeah, I've been interesting. I've been real fun to live with lately. And nighttime, in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, and it's just, there's so much going on here in the other realms with the Shaumbra who have already left, with Shaumbra who are literally still here on the planet, but also doing work on the other side. Those of us who are here really grounding it, and just a tremendous, tremendous amount going on. So it'll be interesting to see where all this goes. We do have the first part one of what's probably going to be 2 or 3, maybe 4 parts, talking about Heaven's Cross. We came out with it, about a month ago, and it's talking about preparing for the opening. It's Adamus in, I believe, 4 or 5 sessions. He talks about more about it, what it is, how it affects the planet, to a degree how it affects us personally. It's 5 sessions, including a really good Q&A, and again, 90 days access to viewing it. So if you really want to kind of brush up on Heaven's Cross, this would be a good one. I think we have, we have a little trailer for Heaven's Cross, preparing for the opening.
Earth, humans have been shut off from the other realms for about as long as the planet has been here. It was part of the setup, part of the plan. Not intentional forgetfulness, but a focus on this planet, a focus of going into biology, a focus ultimately that went into the mind. But it was so that you could live in this experience here on the planet in a very defined time and space, with a very defined set of linear circumstances that in your life. Now, here we are in a time when everything is going very fast. You have the advent of technology. You have a more populated world than ever before. You have a long overdue change that's occurring in so many things in society, in the physical body, in the mind. It's all been a pent-up demand that's occurring. Then you have enough people around the planet that are expanding their consciousness. Enough people that are opening and allowing. They've gotten beyond doing prayer and doing ritual and all the other stuff, and they're truly beings of consciousness now. And they're bringing more and more and more consciousness to the planet every day. Now, you have the other force occurring is more and more hopelessness, mental imbalance, anger. Well, we didn't even talk about anger. That's another one. You have more of this, and all these dynamics are setting up this opening of Heaven's Cross. What that means poetically is that this encasement around human consciousness and around the human mass consciousness, there's going to be a hole in it, a crack in the eggs, so to speak. And that hole is going to open up, and it's going to allow more divine energies, more consciousness to flow to this planet. It's going to open up the other realms. And these energies have always been there. You just kind of close them off. The planet has been much like that. There's always been so much more other realms that are interacting, that are right here, other realms that are right in this space, so to speak. Ghosts and spooks walking through the past, walking through the future, passing through, but you just haven't been aware of it. Now, imagine for a moment as we come to this time of Heaven's Cross, that the awareness increases. The patterning of energies outside of this physical realm, the change so that they don't go around the realm, or in other words, you're not forgetting about them. The patterns change so that they can be right here. They can be in this realm. For you, what Heaven's Cross means is that there is more awareness. Not more awareness just of this realm, but of the others. More awareness of what's going on. And what you do with it is totally up to you, but I can tell you a few things that happen. It just gets easier. And not because you figured things out, it just gets easier because now you're here. Not just you, the human, but you are here.
Well, that's big. And just, wow.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, so...
Can Adamus live up to what he's saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure. You want to test him?
later.
Anyway, speaking of
No,
Heaven's
it's
Cross,
huge.
that was part one. We're going to be filming part two in a couple of weeks and try to get that out as soon as possible. He's going to be talking about the beauty of it, but also some of the things to watch out for, like getting sucked onto the other side.
Well, I mean, you can really
I'm
imagine.
serious.
He can offer information that might help us optimize our experience with it, and he's made it really clear that anybody has access to it.
Yeah.
But most people won't have any awareness of it, and it's related to consciousness.
Yep. Anyway, but wait, there's more. There's more coming as we get ready for it. We've put together a new page on the Crimson Circle website. This is just for Heaven's Cross because there's a lot of different materials right now, and we want to make sure it's easy to access. So, when you go to the website, you're on the home page. You have to click that enter button after seeing the beautiful graphic and the little quote. You go to the hub. So now we've moved Heaven's Cross right up to the first position on the hub page.
Keep it simple.
Click on there, and it's going to give you direct access now into the full Heaven's Cross page. Banner up at the top says the Heaven's Cross on March 22nd, 2023. And you got everything on this page now. We'll be adding to it as we go along. I could do a little bit bigger close-up. So the first item right now up there is the Saint Germain video that we just saw. And I think it's a little longer version of it. The item after that is the music. The music in the intro for Heaven's Cross. That's kind of where it's like voices, but you don't know what they're saying. So we've created a whole composition. It's about, at least a half hour long with beautiful music. And it's free to download. There's a little short message, like 30 seconds up front from Adamus, just to comply with copyright issues. But then you can download that, listen to it. I listen to it all the time.
Yes, you do, and I do too.
Yeah. Even if you don't intend to, because I've got it playing through the house. And then Dr. Doug Davies did a chart on Heaven's Cross. We gave him the date and the time that we're going to be webcasting from Kona, so he used that as the basis for it. And it was funny because we'd sent him an email. Linda asked him, would you just do a chart on this? And he called up on the phone about an hour later, and he said, you got to look at this. And he put it up on the screen. It's amazing because everything is massed in the 11th and 12th house. I don't know what that means, but it looks really cool when you look at the chart. Doug gives a really good description of the different things that are happening. And he actually came back at one point and said, are you sure it's not March 23rd? And I said, well, initially when I was talking to Adamus, they didn't have a specific date. Then he said early 2023. Then he said March. Then the dates he gave me were the 22nd or the 23rd, but finally said the 22nd. Because Doug said, boy, right after that, there's a huge shift. The next day. So it was pretty interesting.
Well, I found that interesting also because we're going to be in Hawaii, and Hawaii is in one of the last time zones of the day. So it also makes sense that it would be March 23rd in a lot of places at the time we actually do it in Hawaii.
Right.
So I'm suspect that was part of why he looked at that.
Yeah, exactly. I wrote an article for the magazine last month with a little bit more information about Heaven's Cross. That's up there. And then if you want to subscribe to the product that we just talked about, the first in the series of them, we'll be adding to this as we go along. So if you want to know, this is kind of like Heaven's Cross Central. Everything's there. So that's on the website. And, wow. Earlier this week, we recorded Sam's, he called it his Be Well message, but we all know it was his farewell message. It was probably the toughest channel I've done in a long, long time. And it was emotional, but it was like I could feel Sam. He was so right here. And I could feel everything he was communicating and conveying. I just couldn't put it into words. I had a really difficult time. Afterwards, I went back to the production desk with Linda. It's like, God, maybe we ought to re-record it another day, another lifetime. And they're like, no, it was really good. And it's like, That was so difficult.
I understand totally why that was so difficult. It was difficult to imagine you doing it. And there was something very cool about it because so many of us were ticked off about him saying he was leaving.
Yeah.
And that's why he didn't say farewell, because he has a plan. He's not just going to ditch us. He's just got a different route.
Right. Well, he's leaving. So anyway, the production crew
Not like that.
put everything together in a big hurry so that we would have it available. It's now available as a download. It's 45 minutes or so. It's a free download. It's available on the Crimson Circle site. And last night at about 8 o'clock, Gene, could you put together a quick trailer for this? Which you did.
He's leaving December 21st, Tuesday. Isn't that the equinox or something?
So, we're going to take a quick look at a couple little clips from that session. Welcome. I am Sam. Sam, I am. We come together right now. It's December 13th, 2022. And we come together like this to, well, for me to say farewell and be well. There's always bad apples on the tree. Oh, it could be from insects. It could get worms. It could just be that particular apple just didn't have the life force energy flowing through it to blossom as a beautiful apple. With the bad apples, just take them off the tree, compost them, allow that energy to convert. But yes, there's always bad apples in your life. There's plenty of bad apples. Well, you've met them, other people. They're just energy incompatible with you. Doesn't make them wrong, but your energies and theirs just don't flow. There might be bad people that do bad things, but don't curse the whole tree just because of a few bad apples. And that's what happens so often. Oh, I've seen that they curse the whole tree. And that energy goes out to the whole tree. No, just pick off the bad apples and compost them. Bring them to wisdom. You are the Atlanteans. You are the ones that came here. From the temples of Tien and before that, you were the ones who worked with the crystalline energies to create the headbands, to improve humanity. But in a way, they also ended up limiting, restricting, imprisoning humanity. They kept consciousness trapped, prevented outside or additional consciousness of your soul, of you, to come in. And this happened not just with you, but with the entire planet. And it's been that way for a long, long time. It wasn't a mistake. There were reasons for it. There was nothing that you did wrong in your work in Atlantis with the headbands. But now it's time for these to come off. And that's what Heaven's Cross is about. So with that, my dear Shaumbra friends, I'll be here in spirit for your shout in just a few days. And then December 21st, late afternoon as the sun starts to set, I'm going to meet Kelly once again in the orchards, and we're going to take our final walk, me in human form, her in spirit. And then as the last rays of sun are dimmed by the new night, by the stars in the skies, then I'm going to take a deep breath and just leave. Back home, back to the other side.
He has a place in the Ascended Masters Club, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, it's pretty touching. I mean, I'm watching
Yes, it is, but I got to say something so I don't cry.
I'm watching it now and going, no wonder I had a hard time channeling it.
Well, yeah.
And we recorded this on Tuesday and worked fast and furious to get it out. And right in there, Sam is saying, we're recording this, whatever date that was, and I'm going to be with you
During the show.
today. So.
Yeah, have fun.
Well, at least he has a place in the Ascendant. So he's obviously here today. So anyway, just moving along, just a couple more things. Again, that's available as a free download on the website. It's a beautiful message.
Truly.
Yeah. And before we take a break, one last thing. It's two last things, actually. The Making of Rude Awakening is now out. It's really fun and funny. It's about an hour and 11 minutes, actually. And it talks about how the whole movie came to be. Literally started with a conversation with Linda, Sandra, Jonathan, and me. Actually, we weren't drinking. We were just sitting having brunch. But we got to joking around about it. And then this Making of Rude Awakening tells the whole journey up until the time it was launched. So that is available on the website. It's a free download. It's an hour and 11 minutes and 11 seconds long. And it's available at the Crimson Circle store. It's a lot of fun, whether you saw the film or not.
And you all know that the film is about the Shaumbra story, and it's quite well done.
Yeah. And finally, the Spotlight product for the month. No, we'll get there. Okay. Final is the Spotlight product for the month, Quantum Allowing. How appropriate right now. So Quantum Allowing, I think we did back in, I forgot what year it was, I think 2015. And basically, as Adamus says, realization doesn't come from hard work or study. Rather, it's simply a matter of allowing a natural process that's already happening. Big statement. It is 15% off this month. I think there's 13 sessions or something. Live music with Johann. I mean, they were here at the time, so it was a lot of fun to film it. We're going to take a quick look at Quantum Allowing. How many lifetimes has it been, lifetimes pursuit of your spirituality? How many lifetimes have you been involved in creating religions, early stages of Christianity, even before that? How many lifetimes having that deep yearning to know God, to know Spirit, to know the supernatural, what's beyond? How many lifetimes of knowingness that there is something more? Your path, your journey, all the studying, all the learning, all the gurus and teachers. And it comes down to this. It comes down to this. I say that not lightly. I say that after careful reflection in how I use my words here. But it comes down to this. Allowing. In a way, that's the good news. This is it. In a way, that's the bad news. It puts tremendous pressure on you because this is it. There's nothing else beyond allowing. So when you leave here later today, you go back out into your patterns, into your world, you'll notice something different. And the first is a different level of energy efficiency in your body. Not that old exhaustion. Suddenly a creative nature comes out. Human and the divine together. Knowingness
that rises above the mind, a body that has biology and light in it, an efficiency in energy, an ease and a comfort within yourself. Just allowing, not trying to figure it out, not trying to aspire to anything, not trying to battle any of the old parts of yourself, just allowing, and then enjoying the hell out of life.
Okay.
Well, it's almost time for the break. We're going to, quantum allowing. It's not just allowing, it's quantum allowing. It is 15% off as a spotlight product this month. I think it's worth getting. Definitely.
There's a lot to learn about allowing, what we think that word means and what it can ultimately mean. There's a very big range in what that difference is.
So we want to wish everybody blessings for the holidays. Thank you for being here today. It's always a delight. We love when we get together like this with everybody. It's truly an honor. We're going to be hearing from Adamus in just about 32 minutes. So,
So are you ready?
For those of you who are live and in person here today, we have more food today than they have at the Ascended Masters Club, guaranteed. And for those of you who are at home, hit the fridge, see what you got left over. We'll be back in 32 minutes. And again, thank you to everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
We love and appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks.